तिनक धिन धागे न 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 तिनक धिन.
Every day I wake, I make my mind up. I'ma be the one, be the truth, be the way. Yeah. Every day I wake, I make my mind up. Gotta keep my mind on the because they only telling their side of the story. Out here telling lies like they on Morid and porridge. Kids scare they money on phone it. But down here in the hood, yeah, we know Forex. We growing up, yeah, we got the goods. Good of them assets, good of my fast. Get rid of cash before the whole market crash. A news flash, just a flash from the past. We on the smash now, be prepared to hit the gas, yeah.
Build a land, get the wealth, change your name up. Get the title in your hands, switch your game up. Melanation, elevation, arise. We the vibe, blood eye, and we travel.
Drive.
Blood eye, and we travel.
Woo. That's my child. Woo.
Blood eye, and we travel. Hey, hey, hit him with the higher. Yeah. Sherry Lou, I got from Virginia. Yeah.
I know I'm more because I'm blessed. I know I'm more. I passed the test.
We got to see with the true eyes. We need some brand new bright ideas. We got the hearts and some great minds, yeah. If we could all just be sincere.
Build a land, get the wealth, change your name up. Get the title in your hands, switch the game up. Melanation, elevation, arise. We the vibe, blood eye, and we travel.
Drive.
Blood eye, and we travel.
Woo. That's my child. Woo.
Blood eye, and we travel. Build a land, get the wealth, change your name up. Get the title in your hands, switch the game up. Melanation, elevation, arise. We the vibe, blood eye, and we travel. Hey, hey, hit him with the higher, yeah.
Peace to the party. It's your homeboy back again. You see how I faded in right there? They calling me Dan Riley out here, man. You know what I'm saying? Really going crazy, man. Thanks to y'all. Appreciate y'all support. It's really important, man, when you're dealing with independent media, because it's not as glamorous as one may think. You know what I'm saying? We out here, and you would think that it would be welcome. Information would be welcome with open arms. Well, for those of you out there that create your own content, you can attest to this. It's not what most people think it would be. You get, especially when we coming from the autonomous perspective, because we ain't going based off race. So we get hate from people that look like us and those who don't, because ignorance does not have a skin color. You don't have a phenotype. It's taught. You feel me? So sometimes it's good just to take a step away. You know, yesterday, you know, another one of these man-made holidays, but I got some good advice before the well, you know, when you done broke out of the matrix a little bit and you start to see things differently, it could cause you not to want to participate in anything going on around you. But life's short, bro. You know what I'm saying? So take a little time to disconnect, be in the real world, be present with the people that you know really rock with you, man. Because it's refreshing to be able to step away from this hard work that we do, because it consumes your mind. When you know the truth, it's hard to even see things the same. But sometimes you gotta, you know, live a little bit, man. It helps out. So with that being said, you know we coming back with a whole new energy. We got a lot to talk about. Mac hit me. He said, hey, this the lecture is for Sunday service. So I wanted to put something together, newsworthy, that can lead us right into that, right? So, and shout out to all y'all in the chat. I got back for what's mine that tapped in, man. Everybody who's creating content about pushing this message out. Salute to all y'all, because we know firsthand that it ain't easy, and y'all need to support independent media. Like the channel, the videos, spread it out, hit the comments. We appreciate all that. So with that being said, we got to go to another independent content creator. She's been much talked about, but to give her just due. She's typically on, as far as the journalism tip goes, on point more than she is not, you know. So she just did an interview with Tamir Rice. Y'all remember about Tamir Rice, young boy that got killed by the police a few years back. And I remember what made me even want to go watch this interview is I remember it was a time on social media where she was getting dragged by all the activism groups, but obviously we was hearing from them and not her. So I was always curious to know what her side of the story is. And she really, the reason why it's pertinent to what we got going on today is she breaks down a lot of legalities, right? She talks about how she had to go fight for her kids because you don't rightfully own your kids, even if you're on the birth certificate, if you don't go to court, things of that nature. But most importantly, what she talked about is how them same black activism people came to attack her. She tell you why. So let's go over here. I want to play this, you know, fair use. Tasha K, please don't hit us. It was a great interview. Y'all should go check out the full interview on her channel. But let's play this and we're going to get to
it. School. Just had a 3-month-old grandbaby at the time.
In the chat, y'all let me know if y'all can hear the interview.
Time of Tamir's murder.
Okay.
Yeah, so she was out of school, working to get the other two out of school after being waltzed around the United States with Ben Crump. At the time, he was my attorney. He was the one that gave Tamir the visual notoriety or whatnot when I obtained him as my attorney at the time.
So he made it globally, so we would know.
Yeah, he made it globally. He did. He did that. But I did not continue to work with Ben Crump. I think we worked together for about 8 or 9 months.
What happened with that?
It just
these civil rights attorneys. I mean, it's just constructive criticism.
Ben, at the time, I just didn't feel that he knew what he was doing. I was getting phone calls from other attorneys stating that he didn't know the law and stuff like that.
Now, y'all be honest. I don't know if y'all ever listened to Ben Crump speak, but he don't sound like the most intelligent brother. All right. Now, some of you may say, well, how you talk is not a sign of your intelligence. I would say you are accurate. However, when you are a lawyer, it's almost half of your job to be able to be a good orator, to be able to get the judge and the jury to see your point of view and compel them to move in your favor. So I would say that speaking matters in that profession. You feel me? So as soon as she said it, I've been saying it like, bruh, sound dumb. Like, there's no way. How is he the one that everybody feel like they need to go to? Sound like he was propped up. I always felt this way, but check this out.
So I wasn't feeling good about it. And my uncle was he was like my help, right? Because I'm still distraught. You know, I didn't get a chance to finish school and learn all the big words. So my uncle stepped in and helped me with my case. And we just wasn't getting the answers that I wanted or I needed. And I wasn't getting like paperwork when it came to motions being filed or even, contact. Anytime they contact with the prosecutor, I need to know everything was going on with my son.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Everything. And I combed this case with a fine-tooth comb. And I just wasn't sitting right with me. You know, I didn't want to be tossing and turning, saying, well, what if I didn't ask this? Or what if I didn't do this? So, yeah, it just didn't work out in the end. And and then I called the movement out years later. I don't know if you know I did that, but I called the movement out years later. And I just felt that he was ambulance chasing, cases, to be honest with you. He knows that. I say it to his face all the time.
You said that to Big Crump?
I have told that. Yeah, I told that to him. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, him and Al Sharpton and them, and at the time it was Tamika Mallory and Black Lives Matter and Sean King. Like,
Y'all, Mac looked out for me. My bad, y'all. Hey, so what I was saying is, look, listen to the names that she just mentioned. Listen to the names, and then now we got the ability to be revisionists, right? So go back and check and see the names that she mentioned. They was definitely connected to her. So it's not like she's speaking from an outsider view. This is we historians, right? She is what you would call a primary source, first-hand account of what happened. So I'm gonna listen to what she got to say way more than anybody on the internet, right? Because when you talk about these specific individuals, everybody want to hush you up. If you ain't down with the activists, it's because you ain't down for our people. This is how they try to play it, and this is how they play on a woman who lost her son. Bro.
All of these folks, and nobody is showing us how to get no indictments. You know, I had to let them know my son ain't no black. He's not a hustle. His death is not a hustle. So I just got a little aggravated because I kept seeing all of these activists doing things in memory of people's children, and we wasn't getting no real justice. We was not getting no real justice.
So they were PR advocates, which are public relations advocates to, they bring awareness to
they bring
the
awareness,
situation, which is race baiting.
Yeah, I didn't know.
But there's no output.
There's no
it's
solutions.
Just like, there's a face, there's a name, say his name, Tamir Rice. But like when it comes to actually getting justice and suing the city, you had to go get somebody else to do that?
Yeah, I did. Ben Crump wasn't able to do that at the time. I don't really know what he's doing now, but I wanted to. Well, first of all,
yeah, girl. First of all, you said a lot there, John.
When we're stressed out about anything,
but she ain't playing with them commercials. So, hey, did y'all hear what she said? That Buddy ain't know what he was doing. She wasn't, as far as paperwork is concerned, she wasn't receiving that. She was saying that she getting a lot of updates from him, but she not getting the actual motions that are being filed. You know what I'm saying? So her not knowing anything about law, she know enough to know if we supposed to be suing somebody, I need to have the documentation because she wanted to pursue charges. What Crump them do is they come get you the settlement, right? They get you the settlement, but they ain't getting you real justice. And most people, they are assuming that when they get that settlement money, they ain't tripping on the rest of what happens. That's what they was intending on with her. But then now, when she came and started speaking out, this is when they got mad at her all of a sudden.
Free, you can start focusing on things that truly make you happy. It really is true happiness. I've had many individuals make up with family members after going through bankruptcy because they don't have the stress. It really changes your mindset and it allows you to have the freedom, the mental freedom to take care of what's really important. And I certainly recommend it for everybody because we all know life is too short.
My wrongful death docket was like 8 or 9 pages long.
With Ben Crump?
Yes. So when my third set of attorneys had got it, it ended up being 138 pages, 139 pages long. So I don't know what.
So Ben Crump, for what he put together for her to go get justice was 8 pages. She say the attorneys that end up submitting the one that she finally submitted was 139, bro.
Ben Crump was doing. I don't know if he had the skills at the time to even take my case where it needed to be. I wasn't trying to get just hurry up and settle out of court. I really wanted you to go in there and fight. And then, they just say he wasn't a great talker back then. So I just kept getting phone calls about him, that he's
and
not.
You saw it for yourself.
And I saw it for myself. He also, it's a lot of times that I had to suppress my feelings and I wanted to express myself when I was on Good Morning America or the Today Show. And I remember him telling me nobody's going to pay an angry Black woman. So that's why y'all probably see me looking like a deer in the headlight because I was not allowed to speak, and I was just angry and mad. And I
want you to remember what she just said. She wasn't allowed to speak. So this is a legal proceeding that she's fighting. Her son is unalive. She want to go after the police. She want to speak her mind. Now, obviously, if you were in litigation, there's certain things you just can't be saying. That part makes sense. But to basically silence her, not let her say anything at all, that don't really add up. But remember that because it's going to matter with the next segment.
Couldn't get it out. Yeah, so
He told you that no one would pay an
angry black woman. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Unfortunately, it happens. We have what we consider, and I'm not saying that Ben Crump is this, but we do have a lot of clout chasers, and we've seen the demise of Black Lives Matter and where all that money was going. And I know they used Tamir's name to raise money for the organization. Did you get anything from Black Lives Matter?
I was able to get something through my attorneys. Yeah, we was able to walk away with about $400,000 or $500,000
from Black Lives Matter for money that they raised.
Yeah,
but how much did they raise is the question.
I probably never know. I'm still waiting on Sean King to pay me the rest of the $100,000 he owed Tamir for doing whatever he did in Tamir's name without my permission. So who knows? That's probably why y'all don't see him no more, because when I called out the movement a couple of years ago, you know, Sean King and especially Tamika Mallory, and I never met her, but I was just seeing how she was moving, and I just didn't like it. I didn't like how she went from, I guess, the Me Too Act down to the Tatiana Jefferson, down to she did the awards was that year, and she had went on the stage with Lil Baby, and I got the text, and that's when I called everybody ambulance chaser, child Clayson, whatever. One of them Ivy League kids, colleges, one of them kids took that post and made it go viral. Next thing you know, I was being talked about in the clubhouse, the shade room, and everything else, and I ain't know nothing about it because I'm not a social media person or like that. And I had to get phone calls say, you're being talked about in the shade room, you're being talked about on Clubhouse, because I had called the movement out, and I almost had a heart attack off of that. But at the end of the day, I was just expressing my feelings because I got tired of it. Like, why are you on stage with Lil Baby? Where is Breonna Taylor, mama? And where's the rest of the families that need to be represented at that time? You know what I'm saying? So I don't like the clout when it comes to the activists, and you out there speaking the name, and we don't have no real results in the end. You know, it's just.
I support what she said 100%, because from an outsider view, who've been analyzing these movements, right? They come up, they get all these, the message do be out there. I remember when Black Lives Matter, boy, they was putting it on the basketball court, NBA. Teams was doing the jerk, like the message always get out there. Can't take that from them, right? But then after the messaging is out there, nothing ever comes from it that's tangible for the people that it's supposed to be supporting, right? No policy come up out of this. We're not changing the dynamics of any of these neighborhoods with these money that they donate. The money always mysteriously, they pay a couple people off. Like she said, she got a couple $100,000. She kept it real. She ain't lying on them people. But what she did say is she has no idea the amount of money they raised, because I guarantee you, boy, it was millions. But this is what they do with the money. So I'm just being unbiased. This is not a political recommendation. But 100% these people she just named, what party are they aligned with? So when I say this, they get mad at me, bro. It's just the truth. They is the one, and I'm not saying Republicans don't have a political scheme that they using for fundraising, but I can tell you one thing, it ain't targeted to Black people, because that's not their base audience. So who should we be mad at? The folks really using us, or the people who don't care nothing about us because they don't feel like they need us? Like, we just got to keep it real. Then they use this lady Payne and a whole bunch of other Black people Payne as part of their campaign movement to get money to use for their own sales, to enrich themselves in their own campaigns, right? None of these folk be poor. Congressional Black Caucus just got up here sounding like, boy, y'all got to go listen to yourself. It was ridiculous. But check it out. So now I want to listen to all the details she said. Before she was able to tell her story, she was ostracized in the media. They had a campaign talking crazy. So by the time she ever wanted to come and speak out, a picture was already painted of her, because she went against the money and she spoke out against what she didn't agree with her son, right? So this is a Black woman, clearly. So check this out. I want to go Joe Rogan. I'm not Joe, my bad. Alex Jones, they in the same vein. But for those of y'all who've been around, internet researching consciousness, whatever you want to call it. I know you done heard of the white man, Alex Jones. He might be one of the pioneers of the whole independent media calling out the system, because it's a sector of white folks who've been saying that the system is rigged. But none of us would have ever wanted to hear that, because we like, well, you rigged it, but that ain't necessarily the case. We get into that later. Shout out to Mac for the lecture for the day. Going to that Asiento. So check it out. Alex Jones just did an interview, and he telling his side of the story too. And bruh, man, it's crazy. Listen to this.
Speaking of that, I'd like to give you an update on what's happening with InfoWars.
Go for it.
Okay, because I've seen you guys cover it, and you've been very overall fair, but I don't blame you not knowing, because it would take years for you to know it all, okay? Because I didn't understand it until later in the process. So 12, 13 years ago, a kid on a bunch of SSRIs, his mom buys a rifle, he goes, reportedly shoots a bunch of kids at this school. In Connecticut, I don't ever say that it was staged for the exact number, like a year or something. Professors in Florida and Wisconsin and a bunch of other places, they come out and they say they think it didn't happen. And then they start giving what their evidence is. It becomes this sensation on the internet, hundreds of millions of views, some videos per video on YouTube, tens of millions. My listeners are demanding I have these guys on. So I have them on. I have them debate newspaper editors that think it did happen. And I probably did 10 shows on it total over the years. They put into evidence suing me 22 minutes. And it was just me with a caller going, like, I think it's fake. And I said, I can see it's synthetic. Yeah, fake. And then they would use that to then say I sent people to pee on the kids' graves and all this stuff that never happened, period. You understand? Much less for me. And then Hillary runs $25 or $26 million, whatever it was, of ads the last month of the run in 2016, saying Trump says Alex Jones is amazing. Alex Jones says this never happened. And they show like a 3-second clip of me saying synthetic fake. Then Trump wins. Well, then I didn't know what was happening. They start running, I'm not exaggerating, hundreds of articles a day, sometimes thousands. I get the Google alerts because it'd be like an AP article, be everywhere syndicated. Some days, 33,000 articles, but it would be AP in 25,000 places. But I'd be on every channel. Remember, for months and months and years, like they were invading a country. And I didn't understand. Well, they were running ads through these charities that were set up in association with Bloomberg and the families. Whenever you hear the families, there's 20 families. 6 people from like a few couple families are who sued me. I only ever said the name of one parent. Okay, under the law, you're not supposed to be able to sue somebody unless you said their name. So I didn't know what was happening until last year when we got the documents. People pointed it out where to find it. Mike Benz type folks, not him. It was in the public record. So I'm sitting there for like 2 years before they sue me. I haven't even talked about it in years. Before they sue me, I'm like, I think it happened. Stop saying I did this to you. They were running ads on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, where it wasn't for gun control. It's Alex Jones attacking us. They're attacking us. We need money. So we later learned they raised at one charity, just run by 2 of the parents, $300 million off of my name over like a 5-year period, and directly off of me. Like they attack me, the money goes for nothing. This they sue me. This.
Hey, they ain't gonna like this, bro. So let's make sure we on the same page. So we were just talking about with Tamir Rice's mother, breaking down how they campaigned on her son's behalf and got a certain amount of money. She don't know what that dollar amount is. She know what she got paid, right? And she was able to also get a settlement because they gonna back this type of claim. It's good for the political advantage that they're going for. So here you go, a white man being targeted because he said something about Sandy Hook, and he just is doing the exact. So this is why independent media is important. He's doing it. He basically was ostracized and was able to had legal warfare against him because of covering the news and having people speaking their opinion, not accusing, not anything. Just you have the right to be able to criticize or anything that happens. And if a person does feel like you have harmed or lied on them, they can't take you to court, right? But y'all both have y'all due process and being able to prove if real damage was actually done. So he's detailing you how they even attacked him in his point of view and shut his whole business down. And it's pretty interesting what he's saying. So follow along as he talk real fast. You can tell he's passionate. You know what he's talking about. And when you fight for your life, it'll make it be like that. He's literally in court fighting every day with the system based on covering news from his vantage point. Tell me that ain't crazy, bro.
The show trials happened. Boom. We then learned that the Justice Department would pay the Connecticut law firm 1 to 2 weeks before each time they would put their bill in each year, and then the Justice Department would give that exact charity, there's a couple of them, millions of dollars. We have all the screenshots off the federal websites, all this, okay? And there's a lawsuit being filed imminently, probably even today, finally, my civil rights lawsuit for all of this. So I didn't understand what's going on. Like, why am I on every channel? I barely ever talked about this. I'm in restaurants. People are going, quit making your money off those kids. They're saying I made hundreds of millions off these kids. They're saying I have hundreds. I never made hundreds of millions. My company had made gross hundreds of millions, but that's like you sell a water filter and you make 35% on it. This guy sold 10,000. So look, this company made 60 million this year. Yeah, and about 20 million of it was genuine profit. You pay half the taxpayer employees, So, but they're saying he's got hundreds of millions he made off these people. They're telling the juries, but here's the key. They said I never gave him discovery. I gave him all the discovery. Everything was made up that I didn't give him discovery. Then the judges find me guilty. It's called a default, which they did to Mike Lindell recently last year. Mike Lindell said Smartmatic and Dominion were doing things that were wrong. They've since been indicted. They've since had to admit a lot of it. But you know what happened to Mike Lindell? 6 months ago, the federal judge said, I'm ruling, you can type this in, judge finds Mike Lindell guilty, Smartmatic. The judge said, I find you guilty. There's no way to access a Smartmatic remotely or by the internet, even though it's built into them with phones. And so now he's going to tell a jury this year that Mike is guilty and the jury will rule against him. So that's default right there, okay? Judge rules. My pillow guy, Mike Lindell, defamed Smartmatic with false claims. He was defaulted. But in this case, the judge didn't even say he didn't give him discovery. They don't want his discovery. It's all to prove he was right. The judge is finding that it's impossible because these machines cannot be accessed. They have cell phones built into them and ports plugged into them. We have famous cases in the elections where the Dominion and Smartmatic crews come in during the elections and plug in. Everybody knows that. So the point is this fundamental lie. This is how they get you now. We need major reform over this default garbage. So both judges in Texas and in Connecticut find me guilty. They then have show trials after 4 years suing me, 1 month after the next, right before the midterms. Okay, last time before 2024. No, 2022. And so I'm in there, and there's lights, and they're putting powder on the judge and the other people, and the judge, kicks the jury out and cuts off the YouTube feed and says, now there's 20 things you can't say. You can't say you're innocent. You can't say you don't have 400 million. All this stuff, and I'm like,
and that's the same thing that Tamir Rice mama was getting advised by her legal counsel. Don't say nothing. You can't say these things, right?
And so people say, why aren't my lawyers defending me? She would then go have conferences behind the deal, not let them have a record of it, and tell them, I'll sanction you, you can't do it. So it was literally totally rigged. First time guilty, but now she's got to have the show trial where the jury's told I'm guilty, given false evidence. They put on days of evidence that I had $300 million in the bank. The man never examined our files. It was just totally made up. He said our whole business model was different than it was. He talked like first and the how the third. Wasn't even, and then the jury, we talked to them later, they go, well, since you got 360 million, we thought they deserved 10% of your money. I mean, 45 million. And meanwhile, I was negative in the bank then and had never made more than myself, like $8 million, $10 million a year. Okay, those are my best years ever. I need it for legal fees anyways. So I'm just sitting here, and the judge said.
So people that may not understand business, they hear that and say, well, how could you be negative in your account? Well, here's what happens with independent media. When you have a message like what he had, we're going to use him for example. We ain't even going to speak of ourselves. If your opinion and coverage of media is against the mainstream, that means that the normal outlets that you would have to be able to advance your career is not going to be there for you. So you're going to have to self-fund everything. And the way them boys is really doing their thing, can't take them from them. We aspire and are growing to be able to have studios built out in multiple locations. Y'all see us in action right now. But to play with the big boys, oh yeah, it take bread. And like he said, he was getting sued because he was going after the government all the time.
Those 2 days, you are not allowed to put on a defense. We had to sit there and say not one word. Why this guy just gets up there and makes up a complete
Who's this judge?
fantasy land. She's literally a. You go to her Facebook. She supports, Antifa, everything else. Her judge's name is Guerra Gamble.
Guerra Gamble?
Guerra Gamble.
There it is. Yeah, Guerra Gamble.
Yeah, and then she is literally used to have on her Facebook blue hair, and
her.
Yeah, that's her. And
what do we know about her?
In Texas, the judges are elected. She's literally financed by consortiums of Soros money, and she's just unbelievable. I mean, it's just unbelievable.
So where's it at now?
Well, listen, it gets worse. Now? Then if you're,
hey, so I highly, go watch the whole thing on the PBD podcast. He breaks down a lot of different things that was happening with him and white man, Tamir Rice, black woman having similar problems, right? Lawfare, legal lawfare that has happened that's politically motivated, and a lot of money is moving around. So he was talking about his case being defaulted, and why this needs to be talked about more is because basically they can put a charge on you that you can't beat. So defaulting means they said that he messed up on a procedural process within the case, which they're saying was discovery. But he said it makes no sense because if I give you everything that I have, all the documentation, all the footage, I've given you discovery. This is a common thing in any case. So for them to say that you ain't meet discovery when his whole reputation is on the line, it don't even make sense why he would not want to have discovery for his, you know what I'm saying? They're making it seem like he didn't want to give information on discovery when he has nothing to gain by doing that. He would be a fool to do that. So he's showing you other people's cases who this is happening in, and they making a whole show out of it. Does that sound familiar? We've heard of big cases where all of a sudden they could film it. It's not supposed to be any footage in this federal courthouse, but then some people can. These state cases, the way things are orchestrated. And he's naming some of the same players that we hear into Tamir Rice mama situation. These black activists tied with these same people, getting cut in on the political pain that they creating, messaging for people that they don't even look out for. Whole time we supposed to just look the other way, which is crazy to me, bro. But I'm just saying, go watch both of them. Start to put together your correlation, because all of this is legalese that's happening to us, all right? This legalese that's happening to us is all because we don't understand the game properly to be able to make a real difference. So Matt put something together. He say, we going Asiento. That's what we need to talk about to make them understand real deal. Since it's Black History Month, right? How did this even be able to be applied to us in the first place? Because a lot of folks is not narrowing that down. So we finna get to that. So look, Gullah Man Squad, they hit me, they said they ready. So we finna take it over there. And we finna get ready to talk about the Asiento. So y'all go get y'all another drink, get your little snack, whatever it is. Hey, hit the like button if you're here, share it. Tell them it's that time, you know what I'm saying? And let's get the energy right for the Gullah Man Squad, and we're gonna let them take off because it's their time.
They changed our names, but the truth still lives.
Some say we came from far away. Some say we've always been right here. Two stories at the same doorway, both chasing what our hearts hold dear.
Old maps, new maps, who's to say? We just want the truth that they erase.
Two roads, one people,
still searching for the name they stole.
Baby, baby, two roads, one people,
still walking back to what we know.
Oh, we rise together, no matter which path we chose. No, 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 two roads, one people,
still coming home,
still coming.
emotions into colors, but the truth kept living in our bones. Every step we take uncovers the road that leads us back home. One people still sacrifice.
Yes, Lord. We left this truth in harmony. They feed the world with the money that we get. Yet our little ones cry with so much life to live. Life to live. Life to live. We stand in the store, still trusting in love. But when the table's set, who's feeding us? Who's feeding us? Who's feeding us? Who's feeding us? Millions were taken that belong to the children. Food meant for their hands never reached the building. A system built the doorway and opened it wide. Gave others all the comfort while we stood outside. The officers in power, yeah, when not one gentle blessing reached the neighborhoods we made. They keep saying equity, calling it trust, yet the blessings keep on flowing everywhere but us. They feed the world with the money that we get. Yet our little ones cry. So much life to live. Ooh, life to live. Life to live. We show up faithful, no, standing strong and just. So when the table set, who's feeding us? Who's feeding us? We carry the burden of taxes and patience. Still we watch our schools fade in desperation. Silence for the fraud when it happens far away. But scared hands eyes on us whenever we stray. Our voices keep lifting each election here, yet the love and protection never seem to come near. Promises repeated, settling it does, while resources and favor never fall on us. Lift our hopes, Lord. Lift our hearts. Guide our children. Got that star. No more silence. No more hugs. Share this nation. Who's feeding us? Who's feeding us? They feed the world with the money that we get. Let our little ones cry. So much life to live. Ooh, life to live. Life to live. When we stand in faith, then offer our trust. Tell us again, who's feeding love? When we stand in faith, then offer our trust. Tell us again, who's feeding us?
Yeah. Check, tap in, man. You know what it is, the Autonomous Party Network. It's time for Sunday service. We got Mackie back there. Oh, yeah. Tap in, man.
Yo.
Yeah, I like that screen, boy. That's going crazy.
I don't know, I've been listening. Hey, I've been looking for this remote right here.
Yeah.
Like since we started, I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah.
Listen in the back, but either way, yeah, man. Blueprint Recording Studio. Shout out to them. Shout out my man D, Sis Shrunken Knife. We got a lot of shit popping on, you heard me? So we live in the studio. We got a lot of shit going on. If you come down here, you know what I'm saying? And you decide to do some production. We got the spot for you to do the production, podcast wise. Shout out to Blueprint, you know what I mean? I gotta give them a shout out because we in their space right now, you know what I mean, right now. So our party, the network, what we doing down here in
headquarters.
Yeah, it's our headquarters where we at. Obviously, too, you know what I mean? Shout out to Algorithm, you know what I mean? Something we've been doing right here at the same location on the other side, the lounge side, you know what I'm saying, where the food and the drinks and everything take place, DJ, etc. You know what I mean, courtyard and all that good stuff. So that's gonna be the same location. I gotta promote it like this first, Monte, so it's on my mind. Maroonville weekend, right?
Yeah, let them know, bro.
Maroonville weekend, we gonna be right on the same block right here by the podcast where we do our networking thing on Sunday. Same place that we've been doing Algorithm and different things and getting different promoters, radio stations, etc. involved on a local level for real, because we in the city. Yeah, I got a lot of things to say about that too, because it's like when you start doing things.
They need to hear about that, man. Yeah.
It's crazy because the African Research Center, right?
Oh yeah, they awesome. Tell them, bro.
African American Research Center, right on Sis Trunken, 27th. Shout out to them. You know what I'm saying? Dr. Dixon, as y'all know, we got coming down from Maroonville weekend. You know what I'm saying? He's doing his presentation at the Tamarack Community Center. You know what I'm saying? Off University Drive. If you're in South Florida, you know what that is. Fort Lauderdale, Broward County, you know what that is. At the same time, he's doing a presentation for this right here. Matter of fact, I give that shout out at the same time too. See what I'm saying? This book along with the project, the documentary, the living persons he's been interviewing, you know what I'm saying, and all that good stuff right there. Shout out to Dr. Dixon. He doing the good work. You know what I mean? He been moving around. He been really moving around. You know what I mean? And you got to give credit to where it's doing. Somebody really doing the work. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, thanks.
So as we got with him to come in for Black History Month, the last day of Black History Month, and do on the last hour, the Black hours, the last hours of Black History Month, February 28th, 1 to 3 p.m. He's gonna be doing a presentation for that book, and at the same time, we gonna be, we got a lot of things going on that weekend. That's the weekend we've been doing since the pandemic. Shout out to the party, you know what I mean? And we coined this, probably Monte would say the third year in. We're like, yo,
yeah.
Before we were just meeting socially, you know what I'm saying, that weekend, because it was like it fell in line. And I just knew a lot of things was going on in South Florida, coming, especially for people that travel from other places and want to come down and get out the snow or come out that bad weather, getting ready for spring, but it's not too hot yet down here yet. You know what I'm saying? Right. It's perfect weather for snowbirds in this time of the year. That's why they can move down here like that. But at the same time, we coined this thing, because it's Maroonville. Shout out to the social club tied to the Autonomous Party, Maroonville. On the cultural level, what we do is a cultural, social situation underneath the Autonomous Party. And obviously, we do social events. If you go to our website that you see at the top right here, above my head, flashing, the autonomousparty.com, as you read it at the bottom, it would give, I'm going to drop something, this week, just so it could be on the record. But we've been doing it for we've done it at least 4 times. It's just, I'm going to say it's official, to be honest. You know what I mean?
It's the best one. It's the biggest. It's
official. From having the historian people come in town to having, events and things that people could come and get involved with. And then at the same time, the after party for the Sis Trunk Festival, that is the historical thing tied to the street, you know what I'm saying? To the street that,
and we all having a show that weekend too. Hey, and we got one better. For those of y'all who can't pull up in person and check out the festivities, we definitely we got you on the recording on the after, so be looking out for the footage.
Oh yeah, the footage is coming out for that weekend, so if you're gonna see a lot of things. You know what I mean? We're gonna give you a visual. So going forward, y'all know what's coming. So I ain't mad at y'all this year. You heard me? But locally, if you're watching us and you see this after the fact, you in the South Florida area, definitely you see the flyer. Go to Thriller Campaign on Instagram, obviously Facebook, Maroonville Thriller Campaign, X, the Autonomous Party. You can find us on our network and what we doing, and you can find this information about what's going on or what we got going on. However, though, I know it's time for that build though, because I'm trying to, it's the Black hours. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I mean? Yesterday was Black Love for all my Black folk outside, right? Black History Month. At least they put the Valentine's Day thing inside Black History Month for Black Love. You know what I mean? Because we got a lot of Black hate going on.
Wow,
you know what I'm saying?
It's
There's
crazy.
a lot of Black hate taking place. For
Bro,
real.
I got my computer ain't charging. Hold on real quick, bro.
And no pressure. Oh, and it's your boy Mac 8, Gullah Mac. The harsh reality is live life autonomously. I appreciate y'all for tapping in on Sunday service. Black hours, you know what I mean? And Asiento de Negro. I wanted to do something on the follow-up from last week, but the last time we seen y'all. But if this is Black History Month, and we hear too many people say the same things every year, right? But this year, because of the foundational things that are taking place with Black Americans, but being described as Black, you know what I'm saying? And how they understand their foundational roots predate, United States of America and what they've been through in this land. We call America, North America, to be collectively about the region, geographically of the Americas. I think that we got to be more in respect of this 28 days, because crazy enough, in the Black hours, Asiento de Negro, this is the only month that actually has the calendar right. I know that's going to throw y'all for a loop, but that's not what I'm trying to go into. I'm trying to buy time with, you know what I'm saying? So, I would say that we got to pay attention to that specific situation. You know what I mean? Like, it's literally the Black hour, and reason why we titled it a certain way. And I'm trying to just let y'all know that real talk, if cause I know Monte had a little complication. So is I'm live still? I want to make sure, because we live. So when these things happen, because this is what the networks do independently. You know what I mean? Can y'all hear me though? Let me go ahead and check I ain't even looked back on. I've been just talking. Let me pause for a minute while he get back right.
At Drive Time, we make it easy to get the car you want. I get a pretty low monthly payment.
Everybody in the chat, what's up with you though? In the Black hours. Can y'all hear me out there? Just let me know if y'all hear me out there in the chat. I bet money. Y'all hear me out there? I bet. So check this out though. As Monte get right. Yeah, again, Maroonville weekend. That's what we're getting ready to do. February 27th. We're gonna be at the Coconut Creek Casino, and in the last hours of the Black History Month. I'm gonna get back to the 28 days. I ain't forgot the Black hours. See, I'm trying to just make sure I give you all this right about I'm buying time. Then on the 28th, we got Dr. Dixon, 1 to 3 p.m. We only got 50 seats available for that right there. You might be standing. I ain't gonna lie. I don't know how they gonna handle that. I think it's their first time having somebody do something like that in that building, in that facility. So but seating is not it's limited. So be on point, be on time. Don't be on Black hour time. You heard me? Yeah, be on time. 1 to 3. At the same time after that, obviously the festival will be going on Sis Trump, and obviously the party through the campaign will be there, at the end of the night, you know what I'm saying? And before the festival is over, obviously we will be there. And if you don't want to take part in the festivities, pull up and just vibe. I think this year's Sis Trunk Festival has Kiki Wyatt, matter of fact. I think that's what's going on. I think the flyer is already out, so I can say it officially. You know what I mean? I don't want to misspoke, but Kiki Wyatt is the last performance of the festival this year. So if you are pulling up, make sure you're there before that, you know what I mean? Free concert, you know what I mean? Free concert. Right after the concert, though, shout out to DJ Sko, you know what I mean, from Hot 105, Super Blaze 96.9. Y'all know Blaze, though. That's BSB. But he on the radio, you know what I mean? Shout out to Blaze as well, you know what I'm saying? He got his shit popping right now. He on the radio. Y'all thought he was just playing with us or something, but you know what I mean? Shout out to Blaze. Shout out to Disruption Sound, too. my boy Dapper and everybody I know from Fort Lauderdale, tied to that whole movement, and what they've been doing in the Caribbean reggae scene since I was in high school. I got to give them a shout out. But outside of that, though, in the manner of this, they and others, we will be there, you know what I'm saying, for the after party. I got shout out to Music Meal Lounge, right? Give them a shout out too. That's where we started at, in the origin of the Autonomous Party podcast mix show when Blaze was with us. If y'all go back before we weren't getting no big numbers pandemic wise, we were just like, yo, we just want to hang out on Sunday, play some music, and hey, Mac, go ahead and talk your shit. So, shout out to God of Green, shout out to Baron P, shout out to BSB, you know what I mean? Shout out to my wife, you know what I mean? Been putting up with me doing this shit all these years. You heard me? And all my family, my daughter, you heard me? Everybody that's tied in the Black Hours. I'm gonna give everybody a shout out to the Black Hours, you know what I mean? It's like poetry getting ready to take place, you heard me? Yeah. But I'm trying to wait for Monte to get back right. So before I pull up sources or anything. But y'all with me though, y'all there, making sure y'all hear me though.
Hey Mac, you can
I can't pull up nothing that y'all can see. So I'm trying to do this a certain way. But we got like 5 more minutes for I guess the Black Hour, right? Asiento de Negro. How many of y'all know dealing with this situation that you can't talk about a slave trade without talking about the Inquisition? I can't hear you, Monte.
Check.
I think he's working out. What happened?
Hope he say he hear me.
Think about that for a minute on this hour coming up as we get this right. Well, can y'all hear me? Because they say if y'all hearing there different people, maybe I'm hearing voices.
Yeah.
Because mic check 1 2. Y'all in the chat. I'm going back to the chat, see, because I'm in the Black Hours. God is going to say he here.
Yeah, I think they can hear me. Yeah. They just said, hey, Mac, so you leave and come back.
Damn, so how's that work?
Mac, you leave and come back.
I got to go out and come back in because I had a networking situation working. That's what y'all saying. So hold on in the Black Hour then. Hold on real quick then. Hold on. I don't want to lose it though, see, because that's what I'm shook about.
Nah, we good.
How whatever happened on his side. Hold on real quick.
Yeah, that's me calling him, y'all. Hey, we good, bro. You just leave and come back. You just leave and come back in. I'm on here. You heard me, bro? Oh, there you go. All right, y'all, here it comes. Technical difficulty. You know how it be sometimes. I'm still trying to get my camera back right, but what I do got for y'all is blown. Come on, bro. Let me get everything loaded, man. You know we doing this live, so we gotta roll with the punches, baby. So let me get everything pulled up. They go Mac right there. That thing, you can hear me?
Yeah.
All right, we back. We good. I'm about to get it loaded, bro.
All right, you got something on the screen. Now, you know I don't want to start there because being the Black Hour,
yeah.
See, you was gone for a minute. So as you're loading up all that and everything, whatever happened, that's what happened with small networks, you hear me? So it is what it is. Y'all, we made it through it though. I mean, we made it through the Black Hour of that right there, right before 7.
So we going Black Hour on them. All right, I got you.
Yeah, Black Hour gonna be obviously this is the Black Hour. I was preparing it for that. So what I was gonna say, without all the promotion, you see me trying to buy time and everything, right, on the Black Hour, but at the same time, the month of February, as I was saying before, right, is 28 days, right? It's 13 months in a year, right? 364 days, right? They say some people say it's 1 day at a time. Whatever they make about the 5th day that everybody like to hold on to, 365th day, I meant to say, but one of them they say is out of time, excuse me. And at the same time, if you calculate 28 times 13, you do the mathematics, because numbers don't lie. You know what I mean? You're gonna get 364 days, you hear me? But this is the only month, you know what I mean, that really has that, you know, and they throw everything in it. You know, we just had the Super Bowl last week. We just had you know, we got Valentine's and NBA All-Star weekend this week, right? Hey, you know, it is what it is. Because when you think about Cardi G Woodson, he only had 1 week anyways, right?
Yeah.
At the origin.
Negro
at the origin
week,
of
yeah.
it, right? At the origin of it, 7 days times 4, give you 28. Yeah, just let y'all know how the math work. But this first joint, because the Black Hour and how we put it in the joint as a title tied to the Asiento is because of something that this right here book. You see how much this book showing right here costs?
Yeah, 400 basically. Yeah.
Yeah, it's another one I tried to find. I got caught up though. But shout out to Nine. We and him were talking about this. And within this black book, right? This is tied to books of people who will be considered tied to the traditions of old Christians. When I say old Christians, I'm talking about like prior to the Inquisition. You know what I'm saying? Like you being tied to the Roman Catholic Latin system of law and governance prior to the Inquisition. That's what I mean by that. This is the black book, Black Hours. You know what I mean? It's literally a book. You know what I mean? It's obviously in Latin. It's tied to the Roman Catholic Church. It is tied to those. As a matter of fact, you see how I gave you the order, right? I just want people to see the visuals. If you want to give them a little visual before we start reading into it, because I want people to see, give them a little visual, you know what I mean? To be make ups and stuff like that. You know, I'm talking about margaritas and reefer, but I ain't tripping.
All right, 1 second. So you want to go to the
number
let me
2.
Pull it. Yep.
Yeah, see, so that was the Black Hour book, and it's many books. You can go ahead and do your own Google search thing after you see how that works, and you can go and look up, you know what I mean, Black Hours. I'm just going to show you how it's connected, though, because I was like, this is interesting how it came up, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, you know, I'm digging in the crate, looking for sources dealing with just the whole, you know, Asiento. And obviously, I came across it before, because we plan this ahead of time sometimes, and certain parts that will be built on. Titles may become later, but we already done. This is a build right here. This is the build. We got to put it together. So, that's what that is. So, at the end of the day, as he pulls it up, you want me to point to it? You got it.
Oh no, I got it. Yeah, it's low.
Right. Pressure. I'm gonna wait because I don't want to lose my thoughts. See, peace to everybody in the chat that watches it now, or you even after the fact.
Check out what Ms. Angela said.
The origin of BHW was in segregated schools and churches, not integrated spaces. Correct. Yeah, definitely. And black. Oh, you know, but hey, we end up. This is Miss Angela BHW.
Black History Month.
No, it's a W though. That's a W, not a month.
Week. She was talking about week. She was talking about when it was Black History, because it was Negro History Week. Like you said. Yeah.
Now, quick. We so caught up in the month, the 28. You know what I'm saying? But even when she put an acronym for BHW,
mine went straight to that. Yeah,
programming. Yeah, month. I was thinking month. See, hours, months, days, or hours, days. You know how that work? Weeks, and then you know how that work. Yeah. So anyway, math don't lie. All right. So either way, the Black Hour situation that sourced that book, you know, obviously, you know, I had to go, you know what I mean, and do it in the crates. But this is what I had come about. And I took everything, I threw it in chat so I could get a PowerPoint from all the sources that I ain't gonna be able to give you all tonight, but that's the origin of it. That's why I showed you the source first, the book. You can go buy it if you got the money, you're interested. That's for business. But title slide obviously is tied to the Black Hours, and that's how we're starting off tonight, because it's gonna walk us into the Asiento. You know what I mean? And ecclesiastical timing. And see how I told y'all 28 days. You know what I'm saying? 28 days in a month, and how timing, day keeping, and how the priestly timing of things were going on, which would be tied to the popes. Yeah, the popes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Who are dictating the time and how their system is governed in this level of the Black Hours. Funny enough, right? That's what they called it. Yeah, in Latin, they called it the Black. All right, anyway, authority and sacred covenant structure. Keep sliding. And we can keep sliding. I got my slides on too, black slides for them. I got black slides for the Black Hour. Just let y'all know. I got black slides for the Black Hour. You heard me? For sure. And it's heat. Shout out to Johnson winning that dunk contest last night. What is the Black Hours? A rare medieval book of hours created around 1475. See, the timeline matters, right? Produced in Burgess, Flanders. I said it wrong. Pages dyed black with gold and silver ink. Used as a personal devotional prayer manual. Commissioned by elite nobility. The elite. You heard me? Like today we would say y'all politicians. You might look at them as the elite, right? So, celebrities, etc. You can keep sliding though. I just want to make sure Black Hours ain't. We got only about an hour or so to give them this whole thing. Definition of black hours: personal prayer book for structured daily devotion, organized around sacred time cycles. See, 28 days is 20, 28. That's a divine, if you didn't know. Organized around sacred time cycles based on official church prayer systems. This is going to tell you when they're going to pray and everything within that system. And if you ain't following that system, this is when you might be in suspicion. Watch how it work out. Now, what? Allowed non-clergy to follow priestly time discipline. This is what the book in Latin is breaking down, the black hours. Keep going. Watch this. I'm trying to show you that. This is important to this, right? The canonical hours, right? Sacred time system. The matins, midnight watch. Lord, you see how it's spelled too? L-A-U, like you coming to Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah. Yeah.
Lord. When I seen Lord, I'm like, Lord. I kept saying it, Lord. 954. Either way, dawn praise. You heard me? Terce. However y'all might pronounce it out there. You see the word T-E-R-C-E. Third hour prayer. Sex with the T though. Sext. You know what I mean? With T. See, I don't want y'all to think I'm being perverted. There's too much perversion going on out here. I don't want no pressure. Midday prayer. None. Ninth hour prayer. Vespers. Sunset reflection. Combined. Night protection. That's a lot of different situations going on, ain't it? Look how the time of the day they calculating the hours, the black hours, right? This is what they called it. They called it the black hours. Ain't that some shit? How you call it the black hours, but go Inquisition the black people? All right, slide down. Either way, it's interesting how they got it. Origin in ancient temple timekeeping in the black hours, based on temple prayer cycles, structured spiritual discipline around fixed hours, maintain divine order through time regulation, timekeeping was priestly responsibility. See what I'm saying? Keep sliding. You know what I mean? We just gonna slide on now. I want to get to the Asiento, but I had to give you this block hour thing because it was like it's intriguing to me. Time and months and everything tied to the Roman Catholic Church. I ain't gonna lie. Why the pages were black, right? Because it's black and everybody's time adjectives, person, places, and things, nouns, and things that are being described, right? Symbolize mortality and death. Represents divine mystery. You see what the Latin Roman Catholic Church is thinking of black at that time? I don't know if y'all catching that.
Status.
In the black house.
Yeah. An adjective.
Well, it says it represents divine mystery.
Yeah.
This is what the Roman Catholic Church is calling the black hour. I want y'all to peek game in Black History Month now. Now, reflects pre-creation darkness. Yeah. So you can go to Genesis or something, and you can see that verse. It's going to correlate to why they're saying that. Gold text symbols, divine light emerging from darkness. You heard me? Yeah. From the darkness comes the light. You heard me? I know y'all know that verse out there. I shouldn't have to do that. Let's keep sliding. You heard me? You see what they're doing, though. Black hours. Symbolism of gold and silver. This is describing that book, by the way, that we just showed y'all. What they do. So represents divine word, eternal authority, symbolize illumination, revelation, visual representation of order emerging from chaos. You heard me? Because we in a chaotic position. And I think in our days of black hours, what I see going on is crazy work. Either way, you can keep sliding. Is there anything else on this? Because shoot,
nope.
All right, good. See, that's the last one.
I can't see the.
It said priestly authority and sacred time. All right, here we go. Yeah, I need this. Let's keep going. Let it go. Priesthood governs sacred calendar. All right. Control feast days and rituals. Maintain covenant discipline. Book of hours allowed elites to align with priestly structure. Yeah, it keeps going. Yeah, I see. Because I'm excited about this Asiento part conversation. Keep sliding.
Oh yeah, no, it's 13. It's 13 on here. Yeah.
Yeah. I want to make sure they get this black hours.
Oh, hold
on. Go to the next one.
Yeah, go right here.
All right. Ownership signal elite spiritual status. It says it demonstrated alignment with divine order. It reinforced legitimacy and authority. It functioned as a spiritual discipline manual. All right. Like this is the book people walking around with. Like you say you down with the Roman Catholic Church at this time. You got your black hour book. You got the black hours? Oh, word. Okay, yeah.
That sounds like an album, boy.
The black hours. I swear this shit was wrong. When I thought about it, in my own mind, like it's Black history. I gotta do this. Next one. Let's keep going. It's the Black hours here because we in that time. Connection to ecclesiastical government or governance. Church regulated sacred calendar. Timekeeping was a governance system. It structured religious and social life. It integrated spiritual authority with temporal order. You see what I'm saying? Temporal order, like that's tied to the popes. You're temporal. That's the popes. You know what I mean? That's the popes. All right, keep slide.
Yeah. Hey, and also I think it's important for you to break down like why it's important. Okay, so obviously they weren't doing this just for the hell of it.
Oh no,
control time. This was right. It was you can't have a system if everybody ain't on the same time according.
On
so
your
you gotta walk. Yeah, you gotta walk folks in slowly.
Yes.
Into control.
This is the manual for you to know how to operate. See, this is why they say, when they tell you in the Inquisition, are you an old Christian or a new Christian? See what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That term Morano, the term crypto Jew, and how they say, we suspect them of Judaizing, or they suspect them of, doing a Islamic, or they suspect them of being a heathen even. But in the system at that time, the Inquisition, in your property, your land, your tax, whatever, how we look at it today, you being put in a targeted situation is going to be tied to the Black hours. You see what I'm saying? And how you were going to be thought of if you fit the systematic ideal of following the time and the jurisdiction of that time period. You hear me?
Yep.
Of them. So that's why this is important before we get into the Asiento de Negro. It's the Black hours. You hear me? Yeah. That's what's happening. Keep sliding. Let's go.
Oh no, we hit this one?
Oh no, I didn't. I'm thinking I'm on the last one. Look at that. Focus on mortality and judgment. Preparation for eternal life. Encourage repentance and discipline. Reinforced awareness of divine sovereignty. Divine sovereignty. Ecclesiastical. You heard me?
Mm-hmm.
I'm the co-in I'm about to go with. I promise you I'm about to go in. So this is why this right here need to be reinforced. You see, reinforced at the bottom. Focus on mortality and judgment preparation. See, all this is like when they tell you about the afterlife and you wait for Christ, and then when you die, you be judged a certain way because you followed the Black hours. You was a good Christian. You heard me?
Yep. In
your darkest hour. From the darkness come the light, and from the light you will go back into darkness to transcend or cross over. Abba Rashon. However, within the context of what we're talking about, the Black hours from the Latin jurisdictional situation of what they like show systematically, not even off the complexion of your skin. They're talking about the hours. They ain't talking about the people. It's funny that the people are also being called in the English system Black or Moor, but they're being called Moors based off their complexion, right?
Yep.
Even though they're being judged, as it says, your judgment and mortality based off of what? That same system of the Black hours. It's crazy how that works. But
yep.
That's what they were doing. We're gonna show. I'm gonna back it up. But go ahead, slide. We're almost done with the Black hours. See, core structural meaning: sacred time, discipline, priestly authority, popes, alignment with divine order, popes, personal covenant devotion system. So this is the papal bull. This is the religious. This is what the crowns that are aligning
religious
with
order.
The religious order of their crown is following that system and judging people in their system of the crown based on
this.
All right.
Right.
Does that make sense? What I'm saying? Everybody,
100%.
y'all with me? Let me make sure. Black hours. Y'all got that.
This is the beginning of the usage of some type of a system behind Black, the word, period.
Being used on an hourly level, on a noun level, etc. But
at this point, it wasn't about your skin. It was about your standing in these systems.
Black hours, a white person's following the Black hours as far as we would look at it, like you're a Christian. If you were a Christian, you tied to the Roman Catholic Church, you following the Black hours. This is the manual.
Yep.
This had nothing to do with your complexion of skin. Are you a Christian? That's what it is. Are you a Christian?
That's funny you say that because the first thing I thought of, how like the accountants and they do your books and shit. If you in the red or you in the black.
That part. Are you in it or are you not?
Yeah.
This is suspicion. This is how we can judge you if you're following these requirements.
Yep.
Requirements of being a what? A Christian. That's why they had the term Morano, crypto, and all these terms that denoted a person that's a new Christian. See what I'm saying?
Yep.
Now, we know that a lot of dark-skinned people weren't Christians. See what I'm saying? And I ain't trying to, like, they were forced into this situation. The black guy will show you this, and the Asiento de Negros going to show you this. You know what I mean? So we can keep moving. What's the next one? Is this the last 13? Let me go to
it's the last one.
It's the last one. Conclusion. See, 13. 13 months, 28 days, black hours. 364 days, 3 plus 6 plus 4 is 13. Yeah, we're going to put you on the phone tonight. The black hours represents sacred time governance, elite devotional authority, priestly discipline structure, symbolic transition from darkness to divine illumination. Lord, let me tell you something. Black folk outside. You heard me? Ain't nothing wrong with you being black. They look at you as divine. Even though they play with you on this Negro later on, but they know that the black thing, that term black, that Roman Catholic ideal of blackness in their whole hour system. God, Lord, I don't know what to tell you. Lord, see it, Lord, like LA, one of the hours. Lord. Lord. You heard me? So what's the next joint, yo? Because I want to make sure you see that in the hours that we in right now in Black History Month. You know what I mean? I don't think no one's really broke it down. Maybe it's not out there in Black History Month because they always say, you know, who invented these things. So I like the sort of the origin of it. So this next thing right here, though, it's obviously the conversation for the night. Asiento de Negro. You're now, y'all. My question. This is my question for everybody out there. That's tapped in with us live. In school, were you ever taught anything about the law system? Just like how we just gave you the hour system. But were you taught the contracts and the things and the labor systems and things that are tied to the time frame of the slave trade?
Not me, but you know, I got Louisiana education. It ain't known to be the best school system in the world, but one thing I do remember, we had Louisiana history in the 8th grade. I remember that. And as far as, we definitely never talked about no shit like this at all, ever.
I didn't either. I'm just letting you know. You know what I'm talking about? I don't care. Virginia, Florida, you know what I'm saying? Japan, you know what I mean? I have never heard nobody mention this right here to me. All right, dealing with the slave trade time frame in Black History Month and what it's connected to. Maybe it's too much lawful. Maybe you thought we were too ignorant to understand, you know what I mean, the complexities of the systems that were tied to the trade and the labor.
I was going to Thomas say, not in Florida.
We mean not in Florida.
They ain't teach this.
No, not in Florida. You're right.
Yeah.
Rosalind, yes. Not in Florida. It definitely was not being taught here. It was not. This tied to the slave trade. We always just get the story, like, you know, roots and shit. We don't get this breakdown.
No, we got the end. We got the end version that was agreed upon by certain people, but never ever explained in no detail.
But you see what it says on the cover, though. Everybody see it, let it sit there and marinate. You know what I'm talking about? It say the Asiento, and it translates it, or contract, for allowing to the subjects of Great Britain the liberty of importing Negroes into the Spanish America. You know what I'm saying? It's signed by, you know, it said what? The Catholics king. Who would that be? Now, obviously, we know Ferdinand. We can go to the Castile, right? Crowns.
Yep.
We can go to the Aragon. We can go to the Portuguese. We can go to who the Catholic kings are of the 15th century in their system, because they're tied to the Pope. You see, that's why you got to make sure you let that marinate on you.
So let's break it down, Mac, because it's interesting. Out of the many times that we've touched on this document, the one that they chose to display, because everybody who held an Asiento would have their own contract. Because Asiento means contract, right? So they would all have their own version. But the one that they broadcast on Wikipedia is one of the most important ones in history, because so it's telling you right now, for subjects of Great Britain.
Yeah.
Okay. And this is the version from 1713, and we're gonna show you all the different holders. But 1713, the Great Britain imported Negroes into Spanish America. So it's showing you the proof. Now, we didn't talk about the Black Europeans. We said they was tied to Great Britain, especially.
Yep.
So this is where you would get Negroes from. You don't got to get them from West Africa. And then you have a reason through your religion, right? Because here come, they trying to put all kind of shit on you. They hit you with the black. You trying to go and slide to America, thinking you finna get away from the black. But it followed you through the Negro.
Lord.
Ooh, go ahead, man. This one cold here.
Lord. So yeah, you got my next joint, right? Do I got my order right? If my order is working?
It was on the Asiento next.
Okay, that was make sure. I'll make sure. So let them zoom up on it so they see that we're not making this up. So before we go show any more PowerPoints, I like to say I want to throw sources in between so they can see that we just ain't saying this. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So the Asiento de Negro is a settlement of blacks. We in the black hours was a monopoly, monopoly on my side. We use it differently, you know what I mean, than how they're using it. But you know what a monopoly is. Y'all play the game.
Yeah, you're dominating the trade. It ain't no competition.
It's that part. You're taking over and conquering, and they got to pay you now. You land on my spot, yeah, pay the dues. You heard me? This is what it's worth. Yeah. It used to be yours? Or you thought it was yours? It's not yours no more, though. It's all good. That's monopoly. That's how monopoly works. Contract between the Spanish crown and various merchants to the right to provide for the right, excuse me, to my eyes, my cataracts, for the right to provide enslaved Africans to colonies in the Spanish Americas. Now remember what he said, what time frame they talking about 17 what?
So the one that they showed is from 1713, but this started in 1500s.
Right, this ain't even happening yet because the British ain't even involved yet.
Yeah,
for
they way later in the game. They one of the last to have it actually.
Right, like even Queen Anne and all them. Remember, I got the document. You know what I'm saying? To show you, it's in the 1700s that she's talking about the Asiento. That's not like this is what she's talking about, or any of her ancestors are talking about tied to crowns in the 13 colonies dealing with the Asiento. So people just got to get because when they talk about the slave trade, it's like they be all over the place. They be all imaginative and shit, but like it's like, wait a minute, bro. Like they got a whole labor system laid out. It's all documented. It's right there.
So let's lock them down then, so they understand what we. So from the Asiento perspective, what we breaking down is it. So this is how they put the revisionist part. They put enslaved Africans to colonies in the Spanish crown. But when you clearly see on this document, it ain't say nothing about that.
It don't
on
have
the actual contract.
You're not going to find nobody underneath the contract of Negro, right? Asiento, prior to the 1700s, being called Negro and synonymous with the African. You're going to find the word Negro being synonymous with the Blackamoor, or a Moor, or a Jew, or a Guinea even. I'm going to admit, they got the word Guinea in the records. You know what I'm saying? They did because of Portugal. Portugal used Negro.
They had ports out there. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Angola. So they knew there's certain terms that are being used in this time frame. But the term African ain't one of them. But and especially in the 1600s, dealing with this contract. These contracts that people say they tracing, trying to find, when people always try to say, I ain't seen no ships. We don't gotta look for the ship, though. We got the contracts.
Right. And the contracts that is tied to, when we gonna get, we talked about this before, so it ain't like it's the Royal African Company
contract
was under this Asiento.
Mm-hmm.
So in them
King
ships,
Charles II married who? A Portuguese woman.
And all them ship manifests exist, Mac. We done broke them down. I mean, you can go find them. How about that? They ain't hidden for free. You can go Google and look them up.
Or whatever they want to do. Like you say, you can't find Moses. People say, I can't find Abraham. Well, you can find these people.
You can find them.
And what they documented. You want to find out about who you is and what they calling you. They were calling you this at this time. They weren't calling you what you call yourself now after the indoctrination of a contract system of America. But right now, we in the contract system of this time frame, the origin of it. the labor system, right? Contract-wise, contract law, right? Contract law is one of the highest laws of the land right now today, right, Monte?
It'll always
to this day,
be.
right?
It'll never change. Law? Yeah. Okay.
Because now, after the 14th Amendment, you can voluntarily be in a contract, right?
That was what the whole news segment was about. Showing that two different, a black woman and a white man, because of them being the crazy part what, bro, Alex Jones even tried to use the 13th Amendment in his case law, bro, and they told him no, and they was right. Because 13th Amendment don't even got nothing to do with his people.
Nothing. Your people are not tied to. You know what? Matter of fact,
it's a cold game, bro.
Hey, Monte, check this out. In the 13th months of the year, 28 days. Originally, we happen to be what in correlation. Tied to the 13th Amendment, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They also say we tied to the 13% of population, you know what I'm saying?
And the 13 colonies, because this is who
the 13 colonies. Yeah. See how you said that? Look, that 13 following us, boy. It might say we unlucky people, ain't it?
Mm-hmm.
Based off the contract. No joke, all jokes aside.
Hey, we gotta explain it though, because I know, because you know.
We go.
How was they even able to give the contract? Talk about this treaty right here, but from the I don't know how to pronounce Alcovis.
Yeah, 1479. They can see it because most people don't see these treaties and look them up. Let them see it.
All right, so I'm gonna read part of it real quick. Mm-hmm. So it was signed in September 1479. Remember how they wanted to set up time, right? You ain't no reason if I'm putting out decrees, they need to know when I put it out. We don't need to guesstimate. All right, so it's in between the Catholic monarchs of Castile and Aragon on one side, and Alfonso V and his son Prince John of Portugal on the other side. They put an end to the War of the Castilian Succession, which ended with the Castilians on the land and the Portuguese victory of the sea. So basically, what they did was this was saying, "Hey, look, we splitting this up, so we can stop all this beef. We gonna split up the waters on who got trade on this path." And you got trade on the other path. And anybody that's coming through any of these paths, they gotta have permission. If they don't, that's their ass. That's what this means.
Yeah. That's where we get the Pirates of the Caribbean and all that other stuff, because you're moving on the waters or you're doing certain things and you're not tied to this contract. Anybody that don't got the contract, what's that mean, bro? Right? It's like right now, Trump saying, if you are an immigrant and you got paperwork, you straight. But if you don't got paperwork, you're not straight.
You got a problem on your hands.
That's why ice on your ass, as they say. You know what I mean? It's hot outside. You'd rather be hot to see the ice, ain't it? But at the same time, at that time frame, the inquisitional and how the contract work and how all this labor system work and how you could be. Now imagine you not following this system, right? And then that black hour part we broke down, and then you're in the area, and they come with the contract, and then you do something in your system and you broke the law or something, and now you being put up like how the penal system worked at that time, you know what I mean? That you could be now put into the contract of a labor system. And these people can now buy into your contract and then take you to labor somewhere that you're not even from. See what I'm saying? It's like you being from Florida and goddamn it, you don't call the charge, and goddamn now, after it's a year and a day in your state, you can be sent to any other state in North America.
Yep.
Based off Trump, you might be sent to South America. Goddamn. You heard me?
Hey.
Anything under the jurisdiction. Some people think Puerto Rico ain't America, but you can end up in Puerto Rico. I don't know, you know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Bad Bunny, you heard me? Yeah. Go ahead.
Hey, so the Asiento, just to break down what it means on the business, on the business wise. So it's a short-term loan or debt contract of about 1 to 4 years signed between the Spanish crown and a banker or a small group of bankers. Bankers is the key word here. The Asientos are the bankers. So they're the ones who give these contracts, okay, about future crown revenue. So this whole system of debt and banking, they've been doing this for a long time. And this was their number one way to track who got a contract that we need to make sure the books is straight for. These people, we didn't give these folks opportunity to make some money based on this. You told me, this how I go down right here, Mac. I come to you, Mac, and say, hey, look, I want to create a town. I want to go, let me be in charge of setting up Maroonville. I promise that I'm going to go get 5,000 people that want to come help build it. And you say, I bet, here go the money to go get it started. If you don't come back with what you said you did, we're going to have a problem. But if you do everything right, and we definitely want our cut, no funny business.
Contract wise.
Right.
That's how contracts work back then, based off crowns, right? In that labor system. Oh, you need labor? Oh, we got some folk we got a contract for, we can get to come and help you do the labor. Yeah. Are you trying to go over there and do what? Or wherever you trying to go, think about it. If you need a labor system, who got the contract?
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? Like,
but what does this prove at one time,
is
man?
not the economy. An economy has a contract. It's called the Asiento.
So even from the beginning, the crown was doing business, right? Because this would kill the narrative. If the crown was so powerful and was so deep and had all these shooters and soldiers, why they just ain't go and take over the people that was already there? They had to pay some out of town folks to bring people to these colonies because they couldn't do it with the indigenous people.
No, it wasn't going to be the way most people have been presented it. You know what I mean? Like, this ain't like the birth of a nation's being presented with in White House. You know what I mean? At this time, propaganda and media is not able to move in that way. So what we're getting when we read the documents is obviously more boring. Actually, I think it's more liver though. But most people will probably think of it more boring because they like the storytell thing.
That's where the details is hidden right here.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you see right here. Yeah. I mean, this is important that you give them anything before I even give them the whole presentation.
Yeah, because they need to understand. A lot of people don't understand the value of what this actually proves. Everything that's based around transatlantic come through this contract.
You can't go around it. You can't
talk
about the transatlantic system. You can't talk about a slave trade or labor system. You can't talk about the Negroes who are being put in it and where they from without understanding this foundation, as people like to say today, of the Asiento, a contract, and who had it first, and how they dealt with other crowns, dealing with labor systems. And at the time, like you always like to point out, the word slave is tied to a worker, a labor system, right?
Yep.
Now, crazy part is chattel, as people like to use today. Asiento would show that some of these people that we're trying to get into because of the Inquisition, some people definitely are in that position of dark skin that are being put in what they call today a chattel position because of the contract that they got put underneath when they were bought for labor. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Now, that labor system is going back to that contract, the Asiento. So, and because of the context of that whole system, most people are not understanding fully the system that's really the contractual part of a transatlantic slave trade. Inquisition is allowing them to target certain people, which we're going to get to in a minute, right? After you show this, right? Is how they're targeting and how certain group of people, not all people, because even white people got hit with the Asiento. Not even all white people were following the Roman Catholic system at that time.
Correct.
That would be kind of crazy to think that all white people, as we call them today, in the context of being Caucasian, were following the Roman Catholic Latin system. No,
they like us. They humans. They got different sex and mind frames and different things. They ideologies. Everybody, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but we just know. I'm gonna be real. They get caught up in the Asiento, but he might not be called the Negro. That's always
correct.
People talked about that. Like
at
that time,
that's a later thing.
Right, race comes into play now. You're projecting it a certain way on a particular group of people to try to fix the ideal of what you're trying to do after you break away, which is the 13 colonies.
It was really genius.
Say again?
It was genius.
It was the King James, once again, with Lee Cummins, when he gave us that alley-oop.
Yeah.
And I did a Johnston with it, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that was important.
That was important because at that point we now see, okay, the King James wasn't with the Roman Catholic situation, which is going to understand that his system, labor system, subject system, indenture system, and all the terms we can use for it in detail is not tied to the Asiento in the same way until his ancestors, as we keep mentioning, like King Charles II, we can mention even Queen Anne as far as crowns go, they're tied to dealing with the Asiento, but this is in detail of how they get involved. You heard me? So,
bruh,
that right there.
Did I tell you my theory? Like, the bro don't get his credit. I ain't gonna hold you. I be digging on that law part. And I really always felt, once I got to this understanding, bro, is that, man, King James really ran a finesse because they knew that they needed to be able to get out of their land, right? Because they saw what the future, just what he was prophesying when they wrote this whole with the Bible. They're prophesying what's going to happen to them, to a certain sect of people, right? And if we don't move around, we already know what the demise. So I need a book. I need something that's going to keep the people motivated, but also give them game on how to move through this system. So he said, we know how we can get out. He told them, we can find that. We got the people that'll go to these crowns, right? These colonies, which is owned by the crown.
For labor, and they want a chance to goddamn redeem themselves. Like, look, you gonna let me leave my land and go over there, and in the contract, you telling me that instead of me being here on my land, I can go over there and after 10 years work with this man on that system and be free and then be able to do my thing. Yeah, I'll take the chance. Or even a white person, same way. You know what? You don't be indentured and I'm in the labor system and come over here and instead of being hanged, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, never own land, system, never any of that.
You gonna let me go over there and just do my indentured? Okay, indentured debt, indebted to. You heard me? So in the manner of this is why it's important. Matter of fact, there's a word. You see this word, and it looked like pizza.
Yeah, right here.
Yeah, you see that? You see that word? Click on it for me. No, don't. Yeah, a Spanish pizza de India. See, now there's the thing we're gonna be showing tonight. Hopefully, we stay on point. La pizza de Sangre. I've been mentioning it. It's tied to the one drop rule. But this word pizza, right? It's gonna show the pizza de India. So we in America.
India, keyword right? Here.
India, in this case, right? It says was a unit of value during the 16th and 18th centuries, used to trade of enslaved peoples between the Spanish colonies and Americas, and the slave traders operated from West Africa, West Africa through the Portuguese Cape Verde Islands. You see how they showing the trade system tied to this word pizza in that case? But no, it's another one I want to highlight.
Yeah.
When you come down off that.
Okay.
I'm gonna show you. It's another one before we move on. Go. It's tied to India. For all my indigenous folk be tapping in with us. India, Indies, Indie, and all the other variations. You see where it says "Cas de la contract." I'm gonna say contract.
English. Yeah. Contraction.
Contraction. Right.
Yeah.
They. I mean they. Like they dug pneumonia. You hear me? They means the India. So click on that one. There it is. All right. So you see here it says this place right here was established by the crown of Castile. Right. It's important because you know all the time, Monte, I brought up the word requiremento.
Yep.
Because the requiremento is going to show you what the requirements are for you to follow the black hours, for you to follow being a new Christian. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And the contracts given to you to be considered civilized based off that labor system. Dealing with the Indians or Indies, East or West, by the way, dealing with the Roman Catholic system of the black hours, funny enough, and the Asiento, and how that whole thing lay out. So that's why it lets you know, because the requirement of 1510, if people remember, you go check your timeline, the empires that are most popularly talked about, the Mayans, the Inca, the Aztec, they all fall after the requiremento.
And that's why they call indigenous people Indians. It's not because that's what they call themselves. This is showing you where they derive from, because we know that the crown was the first ones to touch this land as far as from a colonization standpoint. They is the reason that it's being called Indians. That's from them people, bro. That ain't from the ancestors.
Yeah, that's not from us. I don't get caught up in that. Yes, yeah, we got indigenous ancestry here prior to 1492, and tribally today, those groups of people, some of them will fall underneath the classification of American Indian. I understand that part too, but in layman terms, I get also the fact, or I will say in government terms, lawful terms, I understand the origin of how our people who have that ancestry fight about this term Indian. You know what I mean? Because of how it's tied to us in the contract. You know what I mean? In the contract, the requiremento of 1510, where Moors and Jews right? Moors and Jews, requirement to a 1510, is showing you that they were already hit with the Asiento de Negro prior to the Americas even being formed, right? Because we just showed you that the Asiento is, and all these things, the black hours is predating 1492. You see that? You notice that? If anybody knows that?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Yep.
The dates don't lie. Like they're already hitting people they call Jews or generally just called Moors who are not, but in their system of thinking, would be Christians. You know what I'm saying? Based off the black hours. You heard me? They're not following these requirements. You heard me? But when they came to America, this thing is expanded. You heard me? We're gonna show that. We're gonna double up on that. I got more information on that. It's easy work. But however the case, you know what I mean? This whole thing right here needs to be just understood. Asiento de Negro. So is there anything you want to show this before we go into the slides? I'm ready.
Nah, not really. Just to tell them to go check out the timeline. When we ain't got time to break down each one of the timelines, but go see everybody that held this, and it'll start making more sense to you while we walking through it. What slide you want to hit? Which one you want to hit, Matt?
My next one gonna be after we show this, go after the black hours. So hold on, I got them numbered. So I think let me make sure.
Yeah.
I want the Inquisition.
All right.
Which is the fourth. I say fourth. It's my fourth joint. I'm only sliding through. I ain't gonna read the whole thing like in detail. Well, I'm trying to make it fast. I think it's easy. Inquisition, Papal Bull. It's gonna be tied to that same source right there. So we're gonna try to make it easy for everybody to follow along from the youth to the older. Inquisition is obviously the people being targeted prior to 1492, and then Papal Bull is going to be tied to the ecclesiastical system of the Latin system and the law system of the Roman Catholic Church at this time of the slave trade. And obviously this term Negro is involved with the contract term in Latin would be Asiento, legal, religious, commercial origins of the Atlantic slave trade. So let's slide down. See, this is all tied in because everybody keep talking about the slave trade, but don't get into the details. So we'll get to the details real quick before we close out tonight. We're going to do a part 2 probably to this. But however, Papal Bulls, legal authorization, 1452 to 1493. The Papal Bulls were binding decrees issued by the Pope. Authorized conquest and enslavement of non-Christian populations. We're giving you the things we hear a lot of people out there in certain black communities mention, like they know about this, but we're just gonna make sure we put it in alignment the right way. The Dumb Diverses, 1452, authorized perpetual slavery. So when we hear people who say, hey, we were put into slavery for the rest of our life.
Chattel,
actually, yep. That's the document right there.
Yep.
That you're talking about.
Yep. Chattel slavery is what this is, 100%.
That's it. Dumb Diverses is the chattel slavery.
Yep.
It comes from that origin. That's it. You want to research it? That's it. That's the year it started. That's it. Black hours. Right? Romanus Pontifex, 1455. It granted Portugal, tied to what we call a European monopoly in Africa. For all my black folk in Africa that's tapped in with us, and you over there, and you may not know this, I don't know. You should. Angola, you hear me? I think you know. However, or Guinea, you hear me? You should know. That's it. Keep sliding. Now we get to 1492, right? Columbus, they say in America. Everybody that's in Americas, and on the indigenous side, or your people coming over at this point after this time frame, it's going to show you that he's talking about that, right? So 14. No, I think you skipped it. No, you skipped the joint. 1493. So I said Columbus. Go back up, Monte, on the slide. 1493. Don't let them miss none of the terms.
Oh no, yeah.
Intercatera. After Columbus. See, 1492. This is 1493. Authorized colonization. See what I'm saying? Because when Columbus touched down, the crown of Spain does not have an authorized. Portugal already is doing a thing in West Africa. And Portugal already has the eyes on Brazil. But the rest of the New World ideal of things, people they call it Indies, West Indies, from the Castilian, Aragon systems of tied to this contract, they just using general terms. Now we slide down. This has got to be in order, right? Now, we're going back, right? Timeline. Established in 1478 to enforce what? Religious conformity. What was the Inquisition and the slave trade tied to?
Yeah.
It don't say race. It don't say race.
At all.
They don't say, oh, we just enslaved black people. Do it.
Nope.
You African, we coming to get you. White people are coming to get people because they black and they Africans. That's not what's happening. It's tied to this. It's tied to the black hours. It's tied to the Inquisition. It's tied to you not being underneath that system.
Yep.
System. Christianity, as they call it, systematically in the 15th century. Targeted Jews, Muslims, Moranos, and alleged heretics. Heathens, as some people like to say. Confiscated property take place. Removed legal protections. Meaning you ain't protected by the crown. You know, just like how they tell us later on after the, the Reconstruction, we were supposed to be protected by the federal government, but we ain't get no protection.
Yep.
Ain't that some shit? Ain't that correlate? Oh, created, dispossessed. Look at me. Populations subject to forced labor. See what I'm saying? So keep going down. Exiled many to Africa. Oh, that's when we were talking about Dr. Dixon, right? Angola. We're telling you how out of Iberia, where Spain and Portugal are located at headquarters, right? Crowns, and how they're sending swarthy, dark-skinned Negro people into places like Africa, Guinea at that time would be called. Angola would be a term being used at that time by the Portuguese at that time, right? This is how that correlates to that. Now we're gonna slide down. Timelines matter. We ain't trying to make nothing up. Everything correlates. Creation of the legal category of Negro, slave trade, prior to African being used. This word Negro predates African. You heard me? Yeah. As far as any ideal of what we think of it today, Pan-Africans and all the other groups of people, right? But in the origin of the system, right, is this creation of legal category. Originally, a legal commercial classification. Defined persons eligible for slave labor, work labor, labor's labor, under imperial law, which at that time will be what? Going back to the Roman Catholic Church, right? Now, included diverse populations from the Atlantic, African, and Iberian zones. So you cannot think of it in a mono-ethnic ideal that they're only attacking one group of people for a labor system. They're hitting everybody that's not underneath their system. And if you're not following that contract, you can get hit. That's just what it is.
No matter who you are, what you look like, where you from.
That's what it is.
Hey, he said they don't want to hear this one. Hey, don't. They do not.
Let's keep going. No, they don't want to hear this shit. It's black hours though. The Asiento de Negro, the origin of it. The Asiento de Negro, the commercial contract system. Spanish crown contracts to supply enslaved labor. Institutionalized transport to colonial territories. Granted monopolies to private companies and merchants. It has turned religious dispossession into commercial enterprise. It went from the ecclesiastical black hour situation, going to the Inquisition, to the commercial situation, the monopoly, the labor, the term I like to use, slave system. Yeah.
Okay.
That's how that works. That's the layers of it. Look at the contract system right there in your face.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Monte. I take it.
So so we need to make sure that we are laying this properly, because we were talking about Ben Crump earlier, how he ain't no good orator. So we got to be able to put this so they understand the thesis, basically, which is this is showing you so that we know that they started colonization. We know they got the documents. We can't dispute none of that based on historical evidence, right? But then the way that they carried out the colonization is what is much debated about. So this system right here is showing you this ain't a system that's built for war. This is a system that's built for money, for business. Exactly. Because they're not going nowhere saying everybody here, we unaliving everybody if they don't sign or say they decree right now today. It wasn't that. It said, hey, look, we done put the whole world in a trust. And all we got to do is send somebody out there and say, hey, this is ours now. And everybody else, didn't nobody disagree because they don't know what we said to them. But guess what? We bringing our own workers in because we know we can't make them work for us. This they land. No, it's smarter if we get somebody sent in. We get them out of town people who need somewhere to go, and they gonna work for us and build up these new lands because they don't like where they at anyway. Go ahead.
No, that's not how that works. Exactly. That's not how that works either. So however people want to go about that, that's not how that works. So if people get caught up in their feelings, but law Ignorance of the law is no excuse, they say in America.
That's what they
right?
said.
Well, it's the same thing back then in the trade system or the slave trade system or the contract system of that time period, dealing with people called Negroes. Just to put it out there like that, there's no feelings involved. See, I got out my feelings when I learned about the Asiento, y'all. I ain't gonna lie. I had to get out all my feelings.
And make you challenge with what we've been taught. Yeah.
All the other stuff throw out the window. Cause we in the labor system now, ain't it?
It ain't never changed, bro.
Oh, the slave trade. No, the working system, the labor system, the economy system has never stopped.
Yep. Man, if they was thinking like this,
where are you at in the contract of it? Huh?
If they was this sophisticated in the 1400s, you think they fell off?
Yeah, come on. It's an evolution, not a fall, man. We're the only ones falling off. Shout out to J. Cole. Yeah,
that's a good one. Yeah.
But at the same time, you know what I'm saying? Like,
because old systems still work. You hear me?
Yeah.
People trying to reinvent the wheel.
No,
it ain't always necessary.
No, you dress up the wheel. You can't reinvent the wheel. The wheel's rolling.
Yeah.
Dress it up the way you need to dress it up for how you make it look good, but it's gonna roll the same way. The wheel's the wheel. You heard me? So it was most likely all the black inventions that we created in America. You never know. You know, I'm talking about cars and whiskey and everything, margaritas and reef. But either way, Asiento Negro. This is laid out. You know, all jokes aside. And again, shout out to everybody that's here for the Black Hour conversation. Tied to the Asiento and
it's a commercial system, contracting.
It's all contracting that we're talking about. You know what I'm saying? No jokes aside. Like, with all jokes aside, literally take this seriously. Contract. It's in your face. You know what I mean? Even in the from the time frame of the 13th to the 15th Amendment, it's tied to contracts involved in that Reconstruction period of how now a person who used to be tied to a smaller entity that could have governed mass amount of people and the labor ideal of it now cannot do it because all of those people are being enumerated and accounted for to be taxed as persons.
Bruh. He just gave us the alley-oop of a lifetime.
You get it?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Right now, for life.
Been there. Most people are. Kevin, you know.
1099, as they say.
Hey, watch this, man. You can attest to this.
This is both really y'all. The contract. I volunteered for this shit too.
Most people who get the type of contract that you have or the type that he had, all come from the transportation industry, right? So as a lease operator truck owner, most of them, that is literally the perfect word to describe them because most of them never pay their lease, right? But the owner of the truck and who has given you the load always wins off top in the lease. This is where this is why contracting is important. And guess what? Ain't nobody come bang on your door, Matt, and tell you to go get that contract. You wanted to do. It's free enterprise, right?
It's free enterprise.
Yeah.
That's what, because I'm about my feelings about contracts. Because today, in the 21st century, you better know how to contract autonomously, right?
Yeah.
You better read your contracts out here, y'all. Like, we hear all the time rappers and different entertainment people who say they did it for the fame, right?
Yep.
They didn't
read
They didn't read the contract. Now, they might be in a perpetual contract for life. Somebody got their likeness. You know what I'm saying? But it's voluntary. So when you go to court, you can't be like, oh, they swindled me. You signed the contract. After the Reconstruction period, you signed the contract. Maybe you were ignorant to it, but you did it.
Yep.
That's why when people go get lawyers, it's even obviously important to understand the contract that them lawyers are dealing with the state and representing you in any kind of case. Even Crump. You heard me? That's a little crump off the cookie, you heard me? But either way, turn religious disposition into commercial enterprise. Slide on, right? Because, we're going to try to be closest time as possible on the hour. You heard me? Institutional chain of authority. Pope issued papal bulls authorizing enslavement. Inquisition identified and dispossessed target populations. Crowns asserted jurisdiction over enslaved persons. Asiento contracts transported and sold enslaved persons. You heard me? And if you were enslaved by the crown, it's like how you being enslaved by your state. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
You broke the law, or they look at you as you broke the law. The origin of it could be religion. They could accuse you of something and say, you know what?
Yep.
You ain't really following this system like you say you supposed to be doing, right? Yeah, let's find a way to go get them people property and put them in this system of, that's what we're going to do. Yeah, that's what this is. So Asiento contractors, look, Asiento contractors, and y'all out here today who are contractors, 1099, right?
Yep.
You could be putting other people underneath you and having them working for you.
That's what government contractors literally do. That's the whole business model. You get the contract and then you subcontract the work out.
Come on now. Look, institutional chain of authority, right? It's like how you learn how trust work. You learn how to open up the LLC under the charter entity. Then you open up the, you know what I mean? The arm, the commercial arm that's going to be doing the logistics, right? To handle all that part, to bring in the goods.
It's all come from them.
For the trust, right? Like you got to look at it from a crown or today's time frame trust standpoint, and how you would set up a pyramid system. And the caste system is tied to a contract still. It's not like it's just like a magical, we just brought some black people on ships. Why you think
took them against their will?
Policies for something without the contract
makes no sense. Who taking that type of risk?
Nobody.
But no guarantee.
The Asiento is very important in the slave trade time frame. For anything to be insured. You know what I mean? Not just people. You know what I mean? People that can be moved like a commodity, you know what I mean, for labor reasons, because of the contract that people are buying and saying, now we're going to use them people for labor. And they have children. Oh, Lord. You know what I'm saying? How that work? Because, they're supposed to let the child be free. And it's the parents who are in the contract.
Yep.
But, certain things ain't always go the way it's supposed to be. You know how contracts work, especially if you're ignorant to the law. However, though, next slide on. You heard me up. Black hours. Time of development, like the black hours. Timeline, see? Timeline. All this right there is in your face. And it's right there. See, all that's right there. First formal Asiento contract issued. Formal contract issued. Even though the word's going back prior. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You see how that's
This is when they actually put it into action. Somebody got the contract.
Somebody got the contract. You see how that worked? Somebody's like coming in saying, you're gonna let me I want to get 30 people to come work for me.
You the first staffing agency. That's what you call it. They staffing agency.
Coming in saying, you got this, how many laborers do you access right now?
Yep.
Oh yeah, I need 30 of them. Oh yeah? Yeah, I need 30 of them for what I'm trying to do. You heard me up. Okay, go on down there to Angola and then go see this person right here. And they're gonna make sure you get what you need to go where you're going, the labor system, what you're doing. But make sure you pay your taxes. And if you run off, we coming to see you. Yeah, that's what they were doing too.
Yep.
Inquisition. In the Inquisition. Next slide. Anybody go research all this, lawfully speaking. You hear me? This is all law. Contract. Structural hierarchy. Papal authority, papal bulls, Inquisition enforcement, imperial crown jurisdiction, Asiento commercial contracts, colonial labor systems. We're in a labor system in America right now today. Right. And some of y'all have businesses and are proud to have employees.
Yep. AKA slaves. Or indentured servant, depending on their W-2 versus 1099.
Do you give your employees benefits?
Yeah, if you want them to stay.
If they die tomorrow on the job, do you have something set up for their family? I mean, are you a good employer?
What did the Google review say about your business?
Right? That person worked for you for 30 years. And then when they die, guess what? You ain't helped them bury their family. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on. Like,
hey, some employers may say, some folks say they was abusing them mentally and physically.
Hey,
some was nice. They treated you like family.
Hey, listen, man. To be autonomous, facts over feelings.
Yeah.
Because you're going to have to be autonomous when you read that contract. Because people could sign a contract tomorrow and put themselves in a perpetual situation because they're ignorant to the law, because they didn't read that contract. And contract law is the highest law of the land, almost in any court we can go, in any court you go to, unless you can show how negligence was showed that you signed something without understanding something. You know what I'm saying? Or someone coerced you to sign something, or someone forced you to sign something. You know what I mean? After that 14th Amendment, after the 13th became the 14th, and you became a person, which also could be considered a commercial entity, right? You are representing that entity in which you do in contract. Inquisition, Asiento, and for my Negroes in the black hours, read your shit, read your paperwork, read your contracts. That's important in this, you know what I mean? Black love too, because the day after that and all that, but the contract part We got a lot of problem with that in today's time still. You know what I'm saying? So conclusion, integrated legal commercial system, papal bulls provided legal authority, Inquisition created enslavable populations, imperial states formalized jurisdiction, Asiento system commercialized transport and sale, formed foundation of the Atlantic slave system. And my last source I want to show, because see, time's right there. I ain't even going to see. Monte had a lot of shit. You see, I had a lot of shit, right?
Yeah.
I had a lot of shit for y'all. But hey, we ain't gonna do all that. We're gonna show a couple sources.
Yep, because we gotta hit one last key time frame, which we need to tell them about when Great Britain got this.
That's where I'm going right now.
All right, let's run.
This is it right here. This is it right here. Yeah, that's why I want to do that. See, I want to show them. We're gonna walk them.
Yep. Into
the 13 colonies now. How?
And
again, we've mentioned it many a times. The RAC, the Royal African Company. You know what I mean? King Charles II, Duke of York, right? And how they dealing with swarthy people who also can be put into a labor system. Now they gonna be called Negroes. You know what I'm saying? Swarthy Negroes in labor. You know what I mean? They might not be in perpetual because they're not tied to the third, the Spanish situation of the Asiento in certain cases. But in this case, they're still going to be treated like a Negro. And when you get over here like everybody else is a Negro, we don't know who's who. You know what I'm talking about? Oh, you just say, my people came from out of Scotland. They'll be like, nigga, you was a nigga. Here. Right. Like how you go to job. Somebody say, hey, well, I'm Mac from Fort Lauderdale. Listen here, bro.
Nigga, you from Africa.
You better get on the line and you don't know all this where you from. We don't care about that. But you here to work. We don't even care about where you from. Negro and contract. But however, Queen's Anne's speech on Asiento. Now she had a whole speech. That's what I want to get. Because see, after the Virginia race law, 1705, that's happening in Americas. And that's the colony time frame. And Virginia is tied to what? The 13 colonies. And the 13 colonies is tied to what? Britain. And who? This lady right here, Queen Anne. She's a pivotal primary source of giving you an understanding of how she looked at the Asiento Negro. What's happening in 1712 over here between 1712? Isn't the Yamasee Wars?
There's a lot going on.
Taking place in America. Shout out to my indigenous folk. There was a war going on outside here in America. However, in her speech to the Parliament, Queen Anne argued in favor of the Asiento de Negro, a contract that would give England exclusive rights to supply Spanish America with African slaves for 30 years. As his introduction, established in 1595, is that the Asiento de Negro was a monopoly trading contract awarded by the Spanish crown to supply its American colonies with the predetermined number of African slaves. Remember, they're using the word African in 1712, like how you pointed out earlier, right? Because prior, we already know I did the build on it. They're using the term prior to 1700s. They're using blackamoor in the English colonies prior to the 1700s. That's what's going on. But this term, this is revisionist because this whoever wrote this ain't this not but however, primarily you can go look it up where she really got her records. I think we showed it. Yeah, 1712 to 1715, the Yamasee Wars were out there. Yeah. See, that's what's happening in America, right? But her jurisdiction and even the people that's in the Americas tied to the British or English ideal of how they came over and what they got going on in labor systems, economy systems, contracting at that time, and how the indigenous groups of people, not all, are doing different things and how they're relating, dealing with the trade system. Because remember, the Yamasee War was over trade. It was dealing with trade. It was dealing with people being taken for labor. It was dealing with the trade system and everything like that. You go research it. It wasn't just about somebody getting enslaved because they were some Indians.
Yeah, because other people besides Great Britain was doing business. We know the French. They had the whole Mississippi on lock in the early 1700s already.
They're not warring because of that. You know what I'm saying? Some race ideal. Oh, they just some Yamasee. We need to get them. No, bro. No. These people aren't dealing with the trade system, and they actually interrupting the trade system. And there's a war about to take place because of it. You heard me? How does it work? So in that case, of this contract, it's an important joint down here. Important, right? Hold on, let me find my place. The Asiento was given to individuals, private, joint. Today we would say joint, but it says joint stock companies or governments for a period of 5 to 30 years. Although access to Spanish colonial markets had long been viewed as the key to political and economic success in the Atlantic commerce, the Asiento contract also posed significant risks since taxes were calculated based on terms specified in the agreement, rather than the number of enslaved people actually delivered. It was first granted to the British and signed on behalf of Queen Anne and Philip V in 1713 as part of the Treaty of what, y'all? You see the treaty?
Yep.
Utrecht, however you pronounce that. Utrechte.
Yeah, they see it.
I'm tripping. A series of agreements between European powers, concluding the War of Spanish Succession, given the official charter, I want to say charter so bad, character of the treaty. The Asiento was widely recognized as international law. That's why I want to make sure. Right.
Which is why it's so important.
This is not race, nor is being hit because it's just your race. It's not about that. That's a modern day 18th century ideal when you hear about people talking about, oh, we was enslaved because of our race. Nah, bro, the contract don't say that. Asiento, they Negro don't say that. There's some Negroes that were Christians. Blackamoors.
Yep.
It was some people in what we call the Congo. They were Christians. Nzinga and them, they became Christians. They weren't being hunted. They sent their children to Spain to get educated. So that's why you can't play that game, because it's not about, oh, well, your people Africans, so you're being treated this way. Nah, bro. Not of the slave trade documents of the law. Not the contracts.
Yep.
Race theory ain't even in there yet. You can't even use that yet.
They evolved that after, and it makes sense. Hey,
that's it. Though.
So, okay, so earlier I told you I started coming upon when I was going, really digging into the law side, because you heard it just said it's widely recognized as international law, right?
Right.
So then I started thinking the Bible, which is used as trust law. Okay, so I'm thinking to myself, bro, what made them want to go and set up in these colonies? So now we got the religious dispossession, these folks being targeted in Europe. So they see no future for themselves over there in Europe. They already know what type of time the crown is on. They finna run this system that they ain't never seen before and go crazy with it. So they was like, look, it's better we take our chances and go to America. So now, right here, where it's just showing, the Asiento was how they was able to get the mass migration out of Europe to come into America. And in this same time frame is where we done had Lee Cummins on here talking about these 13 colonies being established and populated in high numbers during this 30-year contract that they just got from the crown. The crown provided them the transportation to get over here. They ain't have it themselves. They couldn't do it. And guess who they was taking? They was taking themselves. And shipping themselves to America. But guess what? They fell out with them folks, right? Revolution. And they booked. They ran off on the plug, man. They said, nah, we ain't with that tax no more. Y'all come over here and get it.
The tax,
but guess what happened?
The contract.
The contract, which they was rightfully able to do. But guess what happened? So they done made the crown mad. They bucked and they won. But they thought the crown, aka the bankers, because they said the Asiento tied to the bankers. They said that them folks want their money. So guess what they did? When they created this blockade and trade in the 1800s, create this civil war, the bankers funding the political bullshit because they wanted back they subject, they Negroes. So it don't matter if you was white, it don't matter if you was Asian, it don't matter if you was a black. If you came through them contracts, they labeled everybody as a Negro, and they came back to get their subjects when they put in this new system. That's what
it wasn't originally even being a religious thing
at all.
And then it went to the commercial side, and after they went commercial, contractually, it was just like, bro, we need labor.
Shit, it was over.
We ain't even giving a damn if he a Christian. If he a Christian, even in America, that's when they were like, they Christians. Oh yeah, they Christians. We still gonna treat them based off the one drop rule. That's why I'm gonna come back next week with. Yeah, because of that whole situation. So, this source though is the last one, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to get it to see if I can zoom.
Yeah, it's the international. So this is from Brill. You know what I mean? And
it won't let me zoom, bro.
They gonna let you zoom
because they got their own formatting. Let me see.
I can get into it though. Let them see it though.
Yeah, it's big as going. You got to read it, bro.
All right, bet. Where's that? Hold on. All right, it's an introduction, right?
Yep.
All right, so yeah, this is the first two paragraphs. Those paragraphs right there. We're gonna end on this one right here. This is it. This is from Brill. This is tied to them studying and obviously doing all the research on slave trade and everything we talked about tonight, just briefly in a manner of it, so we can go into more detail about it. Black Hours Walk You In. The 2007 marked the 200th anniversary of the beginning of abolition of the transatlantic slave trade, causing one of the largest forced migrations in the history of humankind. The trade was not the result of aggression entrepreneurial activity outside of law and order. For a long period, European states had tried to organize the trade within a legal framework. In addition to the agreements with African, that's right, because Africans were involved in it, African states at the time, kingdoms, etc., and trading partners, which in large part were defined by Africans. A divisive. Decisive. See, I'm look, you hear me? I ain't gonna lie. Margaret's decisive, divisive. However, it's bad. It's not good. You know what I mean? No. In these attempts were, it's getting stuck when I'm trying to scroll, played by agreements among European states in regard to African trading post, Angola.
Yep.
Trading post. It says trade monopolies in terms of supply. Thus, for a long period, you know what I mean? That's what's going on. In that last part here, coming in the last two paragraphs, it says there is still no exact number of the scale of transatlantic slave trade. Most scholars estimate for the period between 1500 and 1870, a number of about, this is where we get that 12 million from, 11.8 million slaves who embarked in Africa, or about 10.3 people who reached America alive on board. Hold on, I'm trying to scroll back up because it's messing up. Introduction and item booklet of the transatlantic slave trade, a database on CD-ROM. You know, that's back in the day. CD-ROM even sound old to me now. Cambridge, New York, Cambridge University, and this is from the press of 1999. So they are talking about the Asiento. They know the trade system tied to it. I don't think our people know the trade system tied to it. No. I don't think our people understand the contract that people today emotionally are drawing back to, tied to a system of trade. And the word trade is being used for a reason. Now, as far as the economic goes, like, you know, people saying they want to be prepared. Hey, our people were targeted. We didn't get no money out of that. Well, hey, you know, the contract, boy, that's why this shit is very interesting in the contract law situation, right? You know what I mean? And that's why that right there is important for people to understand. Because there's other people who aren't called Negroes in history later on, after race theory kicks in and all that, that are also tied to the Asiento, though.
Yep.
Know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Indians, white people, right? Yep. Europeans, whatever you want to say. Asiento.
They went all over.
Contract. You might not be the Negro, but you're going to be still put to the Asiento. Because if you can't afford to move autonomously on your own, you migrating somewhere, you're going to be in an indentured situation or less, unless you got the money to pay for it in the contract.
Hey, and the crazy part, the proof of that right now is there's no... So citizenship right now is 14th Amendment citizenship.
Yeah.
14th Amendment citizenship was for 13th Amendment people. So by default, if you are a 14th Amendment citizen, you are being labeled as a Negro. This is how they was able to get the people in America under this, the system, whatever you want to call it, is because of that. So, hey, the slave voyages, we did this before, but so folks can go back check us. You go to slavevoyages.org, every single voyage and ship that they want to show you that came into America came through the Royal African Company, which was Great Britain. They only had it for 30 years. And there's more proof of them bringing their own surnames versus them bringing other people. So this is how you can fact check this. Everything they telling us about African slavery come through this one company. Whole time we know that this is a play and what the word mean and everything about it, but they think this is tied to actual Africa and not Great Britain. Because COVID sent a good message. He wanted to make sure we let folks know this. When you go and search the records, it's going to show you everything from Royal African Company is leaving out of Europe, it touch a Portuguese port in Africa, and then come to America.
Angola.
Yes, and they already have people on it before they get to Africa. And it ain't but so many people. Right here is telling you the first year they did 1,230 people, bro. That's not a lot of people to get you to know millions, but they definitely were bringing them. But now the question is, who were these people and what they look like, Matt?
Well, you know, that's why if you're a dark-skinned person, this is where people in the Indies who don't fit being considered a, you know, pale-skinned European could automatically be considered a Negro in some cases, right? Because of the contract. And they obviously, when they came over here and they put that requiremento out, at that point, they ain't bring a whole bunch of Moors or Jews. No, they had the contract a certain way. They were enslaving the conquered Indians on their land and making them a part of the labor system. And that's why that we showed you earlier that Indies contractual thing, you heard me? But within that context of this, that's why later on they had to, like labor system wise in the New World, be like, yo, anybody we can get over here in the labor system, we need to bring them through. You heard me? If you a dark, swarthy, you know, whatever, you just ain't pale, you know, and even pale, you could be Asiento. You just ain't today gonna be known to be called the Negro. You heard me? But that's just what needs to be laid out in the black hour, because this is my folk. You hear me? It's called black today in America. You hear me? Yeah, marooned people in America we call black today. America.
Hey, well, I hope
Estalusti, Almacario, Gullah.
Yeah,
all that. Almacario, you hear me? Estalusti, Gullah, you hear me? That's those groups of people. You know what I'm talking about? The Negro that we talking about. Blackamoor, you hear me? With the Indian, them group of people. The free people of color group of people, right? That had contracts. And how them contracts changed over and how they went from the colonial period into United States of America period. How that worked. You see what I'm saying? On the party. You see the party back there?
Yeah.
You see what we doing? Shout out to the party, man. Black Hours, the Asiento. Yo, Monte, you know, I had a lot of more. That's why we might have to come back, because I'm ready to go into the indigenous side, requiremento, 15. Yeah. We can give them the whole layout, because, you know, the bickering, right, without the law, it's like we can't have a real good conversation, because a lot of our folk really don't, they're ignorant to the law. They don't know. Yeah. They know race. That everything they talk about is based off emotions and race.
And there's no conspiracy to this. Like you can, we literally is showing you from Wikipedia, because there's no need. It's not hidden, bro. No, you have to be able to analyze the history part.
They don't want to admit that we're not being taught lawfully the system. We've been taught the emotional part of race and the labor part of the system. You know what I'm saying? And while we're not in a position of this part, and we're at the bottom of it because of the economy system, right? And that's what people want, reparations, and some people want other things. They want land. Some people want, you know what I mean? But that's autonomous situations you're thinking about, and you have to know the contract.
Yep.
You can't be autonomous without reading the contract.
Ain't no way.
You heard me? All my Negroes outside, read your contracts.
Yeah. Yeah.
Asiento.
It matters.
You know what I mean? Tap in with us. Till next week. Monte, anything you want to say? Because the harsh reality is live life of times. You heard? Co-in. Yeah, that's what it is for me.
Peace.
Next week, y'all. Peace.
100 years later, The life of the Negro is still sadly crippled by the manacles of segregation and the chains of discrimination. 100 years later, the Negro lives on a lonely island of poverty in the midst of a vast ocean of material prosperity. 100 years later, the Negro is still languished in the corners of American society and finds himself in exile in his own land.
Familiar streets, still feel far from home.
Born where the ground know my name, still asking permission to stand. They sold the future in papers, now we pay just to live on the land. No change, just rules we never chose. Old lies dressed up as law. If you don't know what's been taken, you won't miss it at all. Exile in our own land, standing where we belong. Yeah, yeah. They convinced us this ain't our country. Now we've been here moving wrong. Exiled in our own land, roots deep, still feel alone. Taught us how to survive here. Never taught this was home. Help came tied with a leash. Every favor had a fee. They call it progress, call it order. I call it quiet captivity. If the game was set before us before we learned the rules, you don't blame the player for losing when the table's rigged to choose. No border still confined. They erased us with education, left us searching our own mind. This ain't exile by distance, it's exile by design. They don't have to move you if they move the truth. Now the fight is for remembrance, for the names they made us forget. Once you see it clearly, you don't have